Jim Jones. If you don't know who Jim Jones is, he is that guy that literally has one song, We Fly High Ballin'. Amazing record, by the way. But this guy who has been making headlines saying he's better than Nas, who has been crying about his relationship that has been broken with Cameron, who in the past got robbed by True Life and clowned, and various other things, is doing an interview with Memphis Bleek. Basically, they're doing interviews on each other's platforms. And the second part of the interview towards the end, because I watched the full 2 hours, I believe 2 hours and 30 minutes, because I don't want to take anything out of context. And I'm going to talk about why that's important a little bit later. So I watched the full 2 hours and 30 minutes to see, what made Jim Jones act out. And what did he act out about? He acted out about Tony Yayo. Memphis Bleek just mentioned Tony Yayo again, which I think Tony Yayo has gotten under the skin of Memphis Bleek, because Memphis Bleek has already mentioned Tony Yayo 3 times. One on Drink Champs, one on Shannon Sharp show, and now here. And possibly more, but 3 times already he's mentioned Tony Yayo. Let's play this clip first of Jim Jones calling out Tony Yayo after Memphis Bleek mentions him.
You know, me from the hood, so people look at Bleek and don't understand the business he's doing. They always look at Jay like, oh,
yeah.
But
that's why,
nigga, Bleek
that's why you got niggas like
Yayo
talking about, Jay don't take care of, nigga. I don't need Jay to go on tour.
Yo smoke hard coke,
Yo, chill. Yo, chill.
You look like you need to be taken care of, nigga. You look like you need to go to the dentist. You need to look like you need to brush your teeth. You look like you need hygiene, nigga. You look like you need help. Tell your man 50 send you an ounce or something, yo.
You do need
You
that
might
help.
need
That's
2
why-
ounces, nigga.
that's why
Paid
we
in full
looking to
movie,
see-
nigga. I got a G for every bump in your face, nigga. I promise you that, nigga.
That's
I
a
promise
fact.
you that, nigga.
That's why he worrying about
Peon, you broke, nigga. You know
See?
I got it, nigga. What's
Don't-
up? The
ain't
bag
nobody-
is up. The bolsa.
Hey, yo.
Hey, Flea, where the bolsa at, Flea?
Let me finish that off. Ain't nobody taking care of niggas over here, B. Yo, nah, you good, my nigga. I fucking love it. Niggas deserve it. They need to hear this shit, man, because they bugging out here. All these niggas worrying about who taking care of who. We take care of we. Ain't no
100%,
who
nigga.
take care of who, nigga.
up,
You
nigga.
know who doing it. We live.
Us,
We getting
the
money.
gangway, nigga. We take
You
care
feel
of
me?
everybody, nigga. We take care of each other, nigga.
That's a
You heard?
fact, my G.
Hey, that's my response to it.
You mad.
If you know where that's from, that's Cameron on Bill O'Reilly, where he points his finger and says, "You mad?" Jim Jones is clearly mad at Tony Yayo. And I'm going to break down why. This is the simplest breakdown. If you watch the full interview, the full 2 hours and whatever 30 minutes this whole interview is about, you'll notice that there's a theme in this whole interview. Jim Jones is talking about what ifs a lot in this interview. What if me and Cameron never had beef? What if, Rockefeller and Dipset were cool? What if this, that? What if that? He's talking about his past relationships, and he's really hurt about his past relationships not being good right now. Now, Memphis Bleek, on the other hand, he's cool with Jay-Z, but Jim Jones is not cool with Cameron. And here's why this all matters. First, I talked about earlier, context, right? Memphis Bleek keeps mentioning Tony Yayo, and I think Memphis Bleek has never watched a full clip of Yayo mentioning him. I think he's just seen headlines and just assumes that Tony Yayo is disrespecting Memphis Bleek. Tony Yayo is not. If you look on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, Gilly and Wallow, they kind of joke, they joke around a lot. But in the podcast, they basically say, because Yayo mentions that Jay-Z doesn't really take care of his artists like 50 Cent does. And they say, what, man, Memphis Bleek's broke and stuff like that? Yayo's like, no, I'm just saying 50 Cent takes care of his artists as if they're his friends, close friends. And why is Yayo mentioning this? Because a lot of Jay-Z's artists, he doesn't treat like friends, majority of them actually. And if they're struggling, if they have issues, he doesn't associate with them. He kicks them out of their way, never hear from them ever again. Matter of fact, most people don't even know J. Cole signed to Jay-Z. That's how little he's involved with his artists, that he had him on one album, on Blueprint 3. After that, you never heard of, and then he was obviously on J. Cole's first album, but after that, Never heard of them working together again. Just you forget that J. Cole's even Jay-Z's artist that he was signed. Regardless, I'm saying all that to say, so Yayo's talking about how 50 looked out for him, right? Yayo, got out of prison. 50 had a penthouse for him in New York, $1 million in his bank account, chinchilla coat, everything. Traveling the world. 50 looked out for Yayo. 50 looked out for all of his artists. Matter of fact, you can actually go in the history and see there isn't a single artist that complained about 50 not paying them. The only issue is with Young Buck, and that had to do with royalties or whatever. But other than that, there's been no artist that has ever complained. MOP, who was at one point signed to G Unit, who never released an album under G Unit, they said 50 overpaid them. That's all you ever heard from 50, right? So I'm saying all that to say, Memphis Bleek mentions him, but Yayo isn't disrespecting Memphis Bleek in these interviews. He's just saying that 50 looked out for his people a lot more. That's it. That's not saying that Memphis Bleek is broke. That's not saying anything of that nature. So I'm going to leave the Memphis Bleek situation alone. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Memphis Bleek clearly has an issue with Yayo. It hit something under his skin. It got under his skin because Memphis Bleek just keeps mentioning Yayo. That's the first thing with Memphis Bleek. But now I'm going to go to Jim Jones, who's the real problem here, right? So Jim Jones, you got bumps on your face. You're broke. I got more money than you. That couldn't be further from the truth, right? But that's not even the point, right? The 50 Cent Final Lap Tour, Tony Yayo was part of that, made a lot of money off that. That tour made about $103 million, I believe. Potentially more, $105 million. I don't remember the exact number, but an astronomical amount of money, right? Not many artists can make 9 figures off their tour. That is very rare, especially an artist who hasn't released an album since 2014. So 50's done that tour, astronomical numbers. Yayo was a part of it. Uncle Murder's a part of it. They got paid handsomely. Yayo constantly talks about eating pancakes with, what does he say? I don't even know the rich food that's on there, man. Caviar and pancakes and stuff like that, whatever. There's a reason why Jim Jones is acting very aggressive towards Tony Yayo. Like I said, throughout the whole interview, the theme that Jim Jones brings up a lot is that if we stayed together, we would have had a lot more money, if this, if that. So you can imagine with Tony Yayo being close to 50, them always staying together, Yayo never being tricked out of his position towards going against 50, you can see how Jim Jones looks at that and gets jealous and upset because that could have been him had he's played his position. But he's never done that. And let me break down a little bit of history for you guys. So 50 Cent was beefing with Cameron back in late 2006, 2007. Cameron, as the leader of Dipset, had some internal issues with Jim Jones and Joel Santana, but nobody knew that. That wasn't a public thing. 50, as he's beefing with Cameron, notices Jim Jones obviously has the hit record with Ballin' at the time. Essentially, he's looked at as the leader now because Cameron doesn't have that hit record. That's kind of how the things shifted at that time. Jim Jones being not a loyal person, not being smart in the situation, thinks he's bigger than Cameron, thinks he's basically the head of Dipset now because he has this hit record. Being a moron and not a loyal person, he gets tricked into basically almost signing with G Unit. He goes on stage with 50 Cent. This is in the midst of 50 Cent beefing with Cameron. 50 played Jim Jones like a peon. Notice how Jim Jones called Tony Yayo a peon. All flipped around. Looking back, Jim Jones, you were a moron, a peon. 50 played you against your own man that you were hustling with. And the reason why you're so mad at Yayo is because you got tricked out of your position. Now you ain't cool with Cameron anymore. Which you could have got insane money being cool with him. You could have been building brands with him. You could have been the guy that's right next to him instead of Mace for his whole platform. Yayo was smart, never got tricked out of his position, always played loyal towards 50. And that's how you're supposed to be when you're the soldier. You're supposed to be loyal. When shit goes left, you're still with that person. Instead, Jim Jones jumped ship and damn near joined G Unit. Here's a BET clip that you can watch, and you'll see clear as day everybody from Buck to Banks, the rest in peace Prodigy, to Havoc, are all looking at Jim Jones like the clown that he is. They're looking at him like, how did 50 Cent get this guy to go against his own man, Cameron? How did he do this?
I told y'all earlier I was going to bring somebody new in the G Unit. I might have a new signing, I might not. You see, I got the whole G Unit here. We're going to get it going. What you got back there? Ah! Man. Yeah. What you know? What you know?
What's good?
It's your man Jim Jones right here. Bought you the biggest record of last year, right?
Oh yeah, we had a nice
what we
time
call
last
that one?
year.
What we call that
was
one?
balling. We still balling. What's poppin', big baby?
Was balling. You know, so
man, we got to.
So why was you here? Right? Well, we gotta do that one time. Tell me how to show you how you do it.
You got to pass me the ball for
That's how we gotta do that.
Throw you the ball, baby.
You know what I mean?
Shit, we here. I just came to show some support. You know,
That's
I
what's
respect Gina G Unit is one of the few movements that I do respect in this game and things like that. You know me, I'm a hustler, so I'm always open for money and things like that. But,
That's what this is. This is the ultimate hustler version of Rad City right here.
it's still diplomats though, baby.
Yeah. Let's talk about how like what you got going on.
Oh, now you know I got a new deal pending. I don't want to break no hearts and shake the tables too much, but somebody to offer me a whole bunch of money that I can't refuse and things like that.
Well,
but,
don't blow that till negotiations is done.
I'm not gonna blow that up too much, but I think it's pretty much done. You dig?
Even Cameron, when he was talking to 50, he was like, how did he get my own guys to go against me?
50, what you did, so we was having interior problems at Dipset. Nobody knew about this. Nobody knew that we was like not on the same page.
Right.
So when me and you were battling during our music thing, you got members of Dipset to come to your show. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there like,
Yeah, that was
this is kind of smart, because I wouldn't have thought about reaching out to Yayo or Larry Banks. I'm like, niggas going public with this?
I'm like, yo.
What was your thought process behind saying, yo, you know what? Fuck the songs. How did this work?
Let me say this. Look,
How'd it go?
When balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you gotta watch and see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh shit, he really like that. Hey, give me this, get me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy.
How you felt when Jim did that shit, Cam?
So it's over.
It's over.
No, because this what happened. So, like I said, Dipset at that time kind of really wasn't on the same page, but it wasn't
Public,
external. Yeah. And I was like, maybe I could fix this shit before it gets out of hand. And that's where my mind frame was at. But then when niggas went on stage, I'm like,
yeah, that was Apollo.
Shit that spun out of your nigga.
It just went out of control.
It is a checkmate moment, which was, I said, this nigga's devious right here. All right, devious shit right here. But I respect it. I liked it, that shit. I liked it, that shit.
Because they're not loyal. Jim Jones is not loyal. He cries about being loyal, but that's clear indication. One, his head was too big. He violated so many 48 laws of power. Never outshine your master. He violated other laws that 50 just used all these laws against him because he's a moron. And now, as time's gone on, Yayo is still eating, still making money, traveling the world. By the way, Yayo has done tours by himself overseas. So it's not like he needs 50, but obviously 50 brings in majority of the money because 50 is at a different level, just like Jay-Z, right? And even Cameron is getting up there to that level. Those are the guys that are the leaders of their group. G-Unit is here. Dipset can be here. Rockefeller can be here. But G-Unit was obviously the biggest group. But regardless, these are the guys. Not everybody can be a 50 Cent, a Jay-Z, a Cameron. There has to be soldiers that play their role, and Jim Jones never played his role. This should be a class about loyalty because This is how you learn from other people's mistakes. When you are on someone's team, you ride for that person, especially if they're looking out for you, which Cameron has done for Jim Jones. He actually told him to rap. Cameron's probably looked out for him in all kinds of ways. And you can imagine when Jim Jones goes and joins 50 Cent in the midst of Cameron and 50's battle, how does Cameron look at that? You just ruined everything. 50 tricked you out of your position, like the peon that you are. And that's what eats you inside. This whole interview, watch the 2-hour interview. He mentions so many times about the past and how if they were to stay together, they would make a lot more money. You guys could have been on a Dipset tour right now doing your thing. But instead, you looked at it short term. You looked at it from the perspective of, man, Cameron ain't popping like 50's popping. Let me just join that shit because I'm having little issues with Cameron. I'm just going to join that shit. Imagine if Yayo, right? When 50's beefing with Rick Ross and things look shaky and Rick Ross got hot in 2010 with this song, blah, blah, blah. Imagine if Yayo joined Rick Ross and signed to Maybach Music. That's what this was back in 2007. You literally almost joined G-Unit. You were on stage with 50, playing your music. 50 played you, and you can't get over that. And you're mad that Yayo's never been played. You're mad that Yayo's never cried on camera. You're mad that Yayo's never been robbed. Yayo is the one holding it down for 50 in a lot of situations. Now, I can't speak for you whether you're holding it down or not. You say you have, but doing that in front of the public, joining your boss's enemy, dumbest move ever, and it's haunted you. That's why you reacted the way you reacted towards Yayo. You're mad. You're mad you fucked up. And as the years gone on, you see Yayo never fucked up. Yayo played his position like a smart person does. Not everybody can be a Cameron, 50, or Jay-Z. Some people have to be Tony Yayo, Memphis Bleek, or Jim Jones, and nothing's wrong with that. Yayo makes insane amount of money. There's 98% of artists right now in the music industry that have sold way more records than Jim Jones and Tony Yayo and Memphis Bleek. But they're not making money like Yayo is because he's close to 50 Cent, who's the guy that's a legend, who's Get Rich or Die Trying, still making money off that album, still making money off his music, can do tours and make $100 million because he played his position. He never got out of that. And this is a lesson to everybody. Play your position because it does pay off. Don't jump ship because of things not going right at that moment. This is a clear example of that. Jim Jones jumps ship when he thinks Dipset is crumbling because of internal issues and goes to the enemy. At least if you're going to jump ship, go to somebody that has nothing to do with issues with Cameron or Joel Santana. But that's what this is. That's all this is broken down, is that Jim Jones is looking at himself in the mirror and saying, damn, I fucked up. And he looks at Tony Yayo and says, damn, he didn't. He's smart. He played his role, and he's getting paid handsomely for that. What did Yayo say on that diss track, man?
I know the feds watch, but your boy got heart. Jim claimed that he ballin' and he sharing one blunt. My car European, 100 grand in the trunk. Hey, Jimmy, I don't want no beef, it ain't that personal. I heard you talk to Fox, nigga. You call me an immigrant, though. I gotta spank you, nigga. Shout to all my Haitian shot posse.
He said Jim claimed that he ballin' and he's sharing one blunt. Damn, man. Yayo was vicious with them bars. This shit's funny, man. Y'all sharing little roaches burning your damn fingers. Come on, man. Come on, bruh. Come on. It's funny seeing this play out years later because I remember just watching these beefs as they were happening in the moment. And I was like, people aren't going to realize 20 years from now that a lot of these people are going to be in messed up positions where they could have made a lot more money. You got to think, had Game played his role, Game would be in a way better position. You have to play a role. Look at even in corporations, Microsoft, right? You got Bill Gates, the CEO, the Don Dada. Then you got Steve Ballmer. Yeah, he's not the CEO, but he got to that position, but he's still a billionaire. You have to play your role in whatever it is, and this is a perfect example of that. Not everybody can be a 50 Cent, Jay-Z, or a Cameron. So learn from Tony Yayo's loyalty, show respect, play your role, and you will win in life. And you won't be sharing blunts claiming you balling. Balling.